Microphone check 212. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to It's the Bearded Man podcast with your favorite, the world's favorite bearded man, Bob Bay, sitting above Staples Center, 17 floors up with a fellow bearded brother, Mark Brazil. What's good, baby?
Is this rebranded or is this a continuation of the beginning?
Yeah, so that's interesting. I kind of just got here, set up shop, and just told you I just wanted to get into it, and then we could just see where the conversation went. This is a whole new podcast, literally brand new podcast. I'll show you a little glimpse of the artwork, but the last time I came here to your spot was right when I got the job offer from Liquid IV.
You actually asked me if you should take the offer, and I said you're smoking fucking crack if you don't take that offer.
Well, I was like very confident I was going to take it. This is the artwork for it.
Oh, I saw you recently posted that.
Yeah.
Very crispy beard shot.
Very crispy beard shot. Made sure I got a fresh fade the day before, and then I had my man Kirk shoot some fire. But yeah, so I definitely was like for sure going to take that job. But when I was here, I wanted to get your opinion because I knew your background. I knew you'd have a strong opinion on whether to take it or not. And so it was interesting that when I did bring that up to you and I was like, yo, should I take this? I knew I was going to take the job, took the job, but then ultimately put Purpose in the Youth on pause. And then 10 months later decided it's time to just like completely shut down the storytelling style podcast. And that's why I got into this whole new realm of like conversations, reconnecting with guests like yourself that have been on the show before, and just kind of seeing where the conversations go from there. It's
so fucked because we have a podcast too, and I'm out here. Joe Rogan's my favorite podcast. Mm-hmm. Why would I not do the same setup that he's doing? And we're actually about to transition the same thing how you're transitioning, where it's like enough of this fucking hour bullshit of the same circuit, everybody hearing the same stories.
Yeah.
Cut that shit down to 5, 10, 15 minutes, if even at all.
Yeah.
Maybe revisit later in the show. But like people just want entertainment and they just want to hear what's going on, your thoughts on what's going on. So I love the pivot. We are pivoting as well. So
amazing.
This is a great intro into that.
Well, I think that's the interesting thing about podcasting. And I tell this to people that are in the process of starting, or they ask me for their advice of like, what should I do or what shouldn't I do? And that's the beautiful thing about podcasting. There is no wrong or right way to do it. So you guys were probably thinking like the storytelling aspect for Black Canvas, it made sense, and the direction when you guys were sitting down thinking about like, yeah, let's pick people's brains and understand the story. But then after doing 20, 30, 40 episodes, you're starting to realize like, I'm actually not enjoying having these conversations because you either know the answers and you're just like checking the box to check the box, or you're just not asking questions that you truly want to dig into, which I know you want to go right into everything.
I just wanted free flowing. Like for me, I love the second half of all the episodes. It's the first half where it's just fucking slow as shit, and you want to stay on track.
Yes.
Because my natural tendency is just a crazy schizophrenic person that's going to go all over the place. And then it's just like you want to provide value, and if you go down a rabbit hole, all of a sudden you're skipping 20 to 35, and they're so.
Well, it's interesting. When I was doing the storytelling style podcast for Purpose in the Youth, I literally spent so much time in my head having a conversation with you. I'm thinking about what are we talking on? What other subjects do I need to touch? Like I was so worried about hitting these certain like the childhood, the high school years, the college years, you starting the business, then how you got to where you are today. I was so worried about the process and making sure I hit every timestamp that I wasn't even fully in the conversation. So you could be on a rant about something that's like really deep and you never touched on, and then I'd be like, yeah, so Mark, so then how did this happen? And it's like, wait, what? We were just like going down a deep path,
So I do the podcast with Jeff, and I tell Jeff all the time, like, this motherfucker can just show up. He could be stoned, he could be drunk, but it's me. I'm trying to keep the conversation going, but the same thing in the back of my head. How do I transition this to the next part of the story?
Yeah.
And that doesn't allow you to be in the moment and really provide a genuine conversation and real value. If you just let it fucking go, then I think it's better. So
yeah, the conversation carries itself. You're a people's person. So the podcasting is so perfect for you because you're a people's person at heart. So it's like you would be having these same conversations if it was you one-on-one with these people, and you'd be asking similar questions to what you probably want to just go into on the new format of whatever that ends up looking like.
Yeah. I think now looking back, like I really don't give a fuck if you were a troublemaker or not in 6th grade. I really don't give a shit. So I can't wait. Our next episodes are with Jake Casson from Movement and Daniel Cassidy from Rostaclot, who both obviously built real big businesses, and they're friends of mine. So I'm super excited to, on this coming Wednesday, to do it completely fucking different.
Oh, so these new ones rolling out are now the new format.
Oh, yeah, literally, it's a new format.
You wouldn't even compare it to like some of the older stuff.
Oh no, it's gonna be completely fucking different. I'm literally like, I don't give a shit anymore because it's ultimately like, it's just it's in any single person that's doing a podcast outside of the big people like Rogan, you're getting 50% of the same shit and the same people.
Yeah.
You're only going to get those outliers every once in a while. So for me, I just want to go better conversation, more volume, get more people. And ironically enough, the same thing. I might shift to just audio too, because there's so many people. Like example, like Gary Vaynerchuk is our business partner. And like, we just haven't been able, we wanted to do it here so he can come to the office and we could do it in this setup.
You get the visuals,
and like so many times he could do it in I mean, dude, I could do it tomorrow on fucking Zoom. So fuck it. We're just going to do that.
Yeah. What have you enjoyed, even though I know you're about to go through a process of reformatting Black Canvas, what have you enjoyed about like podcasting? Because this is still pretty new. Like that's started in the top of this year.
Yeah.
So what have you enjoyed about the actual podcast platform itself?
I would say two things. One, selfishly for myself, learning a lot. Every single episode, I learn one or two huge nuggets. I mean, Ilya Posen, who sold Pluto TV for $340 million, came in. And the second layer to it is also new relationships. So value in new relationships. He came in, didn't even know who the fuck he was. I went to a party at his house once, actually, and a bunch of mutual friends. He left. He's now a friend of mine. And we literally, after the episodes, every single one of our episodes after it, I go on the deck and I talk to from Ja Rule to Aaron Levant to Ilya. And we talk from 10 minutes to sometimes literally sitting on there and like plotting businesses and partnerships for 2 hours. So for me, it's about getting the value. Then obviously we can extend that value to people listening. And then from a relationship perspective, I mean, I can't tell you how many people, like I just spoke to Aaron yesterday and he was on the same flight with me to Cabo, Aaron Levant, who he was a guy, you know, when I was in the streetwear business and going to trade shows, you know, like Agenda, he ran Agenda. He was like the fucking guy. And I was this little schmuck from New York, came to California. He was a guy I always looked up to. And now he owns Network, which is like the home shopping network. He's a guy, we had a bunch of acquaintances. He came in, I had never talked to him before. And now I consider him a friend. And now we've done multiple drops on Network. We're about to do something even bigger. So I think kind of going back to the type of person you are, like for me, in any type of relationship or transaction, I just want to get in the room with someone and then they're going to fuck with me or not going to fuck with me. So for me, that's selfishly for the podcast. It's just, I just want to get these people in, you know? So,
I mean, dude, that's how I built the network that I met through moving out to
LA.
You
got
that's
the job.
Literally. Literally. I interviewed Brandon in 2018 and then fast forward, ended up started working for him in 2019. So it's interesting how that works. But dude, shout out to you for having Ja Rule. That was something I definitely wanted to give you props to. Like Ja Rule was your first guest of the podcast.
Yeah, it was a good one.
That's a help for somebody that grew up in that era listening to Ja Rule. There is a little bit of an age difference between me and you, but I still was on the tail end of like bumping Ja Rule, like being way too young to watch MTV Jams, and my parents had no idea. But to see Ja Rule, especially with everything that happened with the festival, and then you were able to like pull him in here, that was a huge move, I think, to launch the podcast itself.
100%. Shout out to Justin Giagrande. That motherfucker, he's a psycho. Do you know him?
No.
He introduced us to Gary. So he was formerly Vayner Sports, has since veered off and started his own thing. Great dude. He introduced me to Ja Rule's manager, who then obviously got Ja Rule on the show. But yeah, man, it gets to a point where like, if you look at our podcast, like the production and everything that goes into it, like we were really utilizing a lot of our team.
Yeah,
and like
definitely.
I'm over here fucking moving my haircuts to make sure my haircut is the fucking day before the show, make sure my beard is trimmed up. Like Jeff can just come on because he could just come on and sit. I need to fucking prepare. You know, some of these people you want to know a little bit about. So like I found myself saying like, hey, I'm investing, I don't know, 8 to 15% of my life into this podcast. And like we're at a point now where like we're growing and I want to focus on growing the company. And, you know, for us, a lot of this stuff, you know, if I put $1 in, I want to be able to get $2 out or however you want to look at it. And for that, a lot of this stuff is very intangible, like relationship based, but like we have so much meat left on the bone from a business perspective that like relax with a podcast. So we slow down heavy.
I also feel like you're also somebody, which I definitely want to touch on today, is you're already extremely well networked, so that I almost wonder, is it even, if the biggest value is the networking tool, at what point are you somebody that always just looking to build the next relationship, or do you feel like you've established enough where you know that anything that you're trying to...
It's fucking never enough, Bobby. Let's stop right now.
Yeah.
It's never enough. because that next relationship could be the relationship that brings you the partnership, that brings you, introduces you to X company and ends up buying your company. So the answer to that is fuck no. There's never enough of that. But I think putting it in a different setting, like for me, as opposed to doing that, I could go post up at Soho and take 10 meetings in one day, and there's no thought that goes into it. I could not get a fucking haircut. Jeff doesn't have to be there. He can work. I mean, the company is shut down this coming Wednesday, we have Jake in the morning and Daniel at night. And, those are an hour and a half that they get a little energy out of you. I mean, the company is, 3.5 people in our company are taken off for that day. The whole company is, the two major players in the company are fucking shut down. Probably not the smartest idea. So yeah, I'm going to focus on the business and kind of just let the podcast stuff. I'll just do Tuesdays, like every couple weeks, I'll just line up 2. And for me now, it's strictly about just people that I want to meet or just I want to catch up with. I'm going to be way more particular about that for sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't even worry about putting out weekly or twice a week. I would just produce the content when it happens. Like if you go a couple weeks and you don't have the highest quality, like you want to be excited to have these guests, and you don't want it to feel like, oh, I'm doing this just to make sure we have an episode next week, because clearly at the end of the day, Ikonick is the main focus. So why even waste your time trying to just, continuously feed this machine of the podcast, which ultimately isn't the main focus.
I would say also another thing I learned was ironically enough, it was actually brilliant because of COVID happening, but we pipelined so much just because I'm a big guy that likes to pipeline, and then you're not going against you're not in quicksand.
What do you mean by pipeline?
We had 18 episodes done before we even launched one.
Yeah, you bulked.
Yeah, we bulked. Not a smart move. Just because, there's stuff that we could be talking about today, like, the fucking Nuggets just brought, the Clippers to Game 7. It's in 2 days. Not that fucking relevant in 3 months. Yeah. So there's pluses and minuses to it, but I think the quick strike. Look at Rogan. That dude's just fucking pulling up. Hey, is the mic on? Oh, where are we starting? What's up, buddy? It's just so. And I'm over here on like some robotic shit. It's so not like me at all.
Yeah.
So,
but you had to go through the early stages of trying to like go down one path for podcasting. And now you realize like that's not you. You need to go down a path of like, fire up the mics. Let's not worry. Like have some talking points, have some bullets that you want to touch on. But at the end of the day, like just know that the conversation is going to carry itself. If you're not worried about the storytelling aspect and you're just worried about having a good hour-long conversation, you're all you need to do is prep for 15 minutes. Now, I used to spend 3 hours prepping for the whole storytelling guests. I want to look in their Facebook and their Instagram and their YouTube, and I want to go read past blogs. Now I just high level will write down like 8 bullet points that I know will touch on a lot of areas of this person that I want to talk to. But I'm not worried about, spending the time that I'm sure you have had to do for some of these other big time guests.
Yeah, I'm super excited for Wednesday. It used to kind of be like a chore a little bit. And then when I got into it, I was excited and I liked it. And then after the fact, I just look at it every time and I'm like, wow, this is definitely worth it. But I'm actually actively looking forward to Wednesday now.
Last podcast we did, so when you came on Purpose and Youth, that was literally the third to last episode, which came out in October of last year. So pretty much a year since we sat down and recorded something. There's 2 things I want to definitely touch on with Ikonick today. One is that I want to hear what was the inspiration for you guys rolling out the kids collection, because I thought that was, most people I don't think saw that coming, but I thought it was like an extremely, one, there's a huge opportunity there for business wise, but then 2, I think it kind of spoke to like what you and Cole really value. So what was the inspiration for starting the kids collection for Ikonick?
A couple things. So Jeff is the ideas guy, clearly. But that's an idea that I've wanted to do for a while. And we've just kind of shied away from it because it kind of goes back to keeping the main thing, just getting that rolling. So the main line is kind of rolling. And then one of my good buddies, Waleed, out of Boston.
Let's go.
Love fucking Waleed. His wife is an interior designer, and he's got his little kid, Goosey. He always kept saying I should do it. And then I'm really close with my nephew. So it kind of was a conversation me and Jeff were having for a while. And then a good buddy of ours, Miles Roger, who's with that private aviation company, Wheels Up. One time we were there and we met with, who did we meet with? Wayne Gretzky's son. That was an interesting day of weird, random. Wayne Gretzky's son, and then the VP of Snapchat, and then he's like, "Yo, I got this guy. His sons go to school with my sons. His name is Pete Oswald. He's a New York Times bestselling illustrator. He loves what you guys are doing." I sat down. This guy's a fucking saint. Loved him, and we kind of were juggling it. And I think then Jeff kind of saw it, and when Jeff sees it, then he creates, and then we were good to go. So I think then and even now we see how big of an opportunity is, but it's also just like, it's just so good to just be giving back to the youth. And like, we've gone to schools and we've given fucking free canvases. We sit and we talk in front of whole schools. It's super rewarding for me personally, as it is with Jeff, as it is with our whole team. Our whole entire team loves it. So yeah, kind of saw a hole in the market, listened to some of our friends, and then Miles introduced us to Pete, and now we're here.
Yeah, that's dope. I loved, I mean, just the art itself. What was his name, the artist?
Pete Oswald.
Incredible. Yeah. Absolutely incredible. Like that I can't think of like picture books that I looked at growing up as a kid, but I could feel this brought me back to like when I was a kid, nostalgia of just that characterization of whether it was like the elephants or the tigers. I don't know. There's all different animals that you guys had illustrated, and it looked phenomenal. Yeah,
and with that, it's 1 + 1 = 3. I mean, it's him in collaboration with Jeff, so you get that. And then from like a business functionality, you know, one, you could just look at it as the white space where there's really not that many people disrupting there. And then B, for me, how I look at it is from the functions of the business that I'm doing from an economies of scale perspective. You know, I go and get the Peanuts license. We're doing great in the main line. What do? I just loop that into the kids line. So it's like I'm getting double bang for my buck. And that kind of strategy is going to lend itself to a lot of new categories, product mediums, distribution, and stuff that we're going to be doing in the near future, just because it's basically just you're taking a lot of these things, then you're just turning them into kid stuff. And that could be said for a lot of different verticals. So, yeah, I'm super excited for kids. We have on Thursday, we have a shoot with 16 kid models.
Whoa!
In a big
here in LA,
in a big Airbnb. Yeah. Oh God,
dude, they're gonna be probably running around freaking high in energy. You better come ready for that one.
Yeah, that goes back to, you know, I'm gonna have to fucking hang out with all. It's like speed dating with the parents.
Oh yeah, because the parents have to be on set to monitor.
Of course, and it's COVID season, so it's just gonna be
mask up, baby.
It's just gonna be a lot of fucking hand sanitizer and masks and just awkward conversation, but that's fun.
Bring some cookies for the kids; they'll probably eat it up. How difficult is it to do all those licensing though? Because you have I have the Keep Going Muhammad Ali one, you have the Monopoly one, you have all these licensing, but I don't think people realize like they see it that they can purchase it, but I don't know if people process like, oh, you have to go through a procedure to be able to just sell that piece of art. So how difficult is that to do? Without giving the you don't want to.
I'll give the fucking sauce. I don't care. The sauce is understanding sales and branding and marketing and positioning and being able to win with one and then leveraging it to get others. For me, as the company's grown, I've really started focusing on elevating and delegating and understanding where I'm what I think world-class talent at. And I think for me, strategic partnerships and how to frame deals and licenses and optimizing those relationships is where I love it, because it's just interpersonal relationships. And then it's really interesting when you go and you're speaking to these enormous licensing houses, and they're used to, from an art perspective, predominantly posters. And these posters are in Walmart, they're in Target, they're in Hot Topic or Tilly's. And then you have these new age fucking psychos. I take these meetings. I took a meeting. I don't want to say the license yet, but I took a meeting, bro, with a 65-year-old Caucasian Jewish guy from Long Island. I took all my fucking shirt off, chains hanging. And the guy that gave the layup was in there too. And he was like, oh, dude. And now he keeps joking about it, and we closed that license.
You did?
Oh, yeah. Of course we did.
What are you shooting percentage-wise for like closing these deals?
I mean, everyone that makes sense we get. It's just got to make sense,
Is that why you put yourself across the Staples Center so you can remind yourself to keep shooting shots?
I love that one. 100% of the shots you miss. That one doesn't do good, but I think licensing is some people base their whole entire business off that. I think we found a happy medium where for us, from a profitability standpoint, our most valuable license is obviously Jeff, because we don't pay a licensing fee. And doing licensing in itself is almost like, you know, if we go into brick and mortar, there's a lot that fucking goes into it. You got to deal with these POs and to make sure it's packaged correctly, the boxes are labeled right. When you go into licensing and you start getting, 5, 6, 10 licenses, just meeting all the minimum requirements, it's so much fucking shit. So what we've done is we've been doing this now for, I don't know, 3 maybe 4 years. Just found licenses that really hit and understanding what does well. And then just for me, from a life perspective and obviously a business perspective, I just think less is better, and deep and narrow, not wide and shallow. So we find the people that, quite frankly, that I like the account manager.
And just how you getting their contact though? Just dive in there, or is it just from like LinkedIn, or is it through like previous relationships?
Everywhere, bro. Licensing expos. Oh yeah, I would say all of them are actually relationships.
Wow.
All referrals.
Wow.
All referrals. And it's just like, I think people just really misunderstand like how much it is about just relationships. Like I'm thinking right now in my head, like my contact at the NBA, like the most unprofessional relationship we have. My contact at Hasbro, we got lit the fuck up at Soho House. And they're like,
in LA?
No, that one was actually in New York. We actually just Zoomed with her, and she's like, "Yeah, I remember that was so much fun." And I went on the train, fucking fucked up after. Shit, I probably shouldn't be saying this, but whatever.
She won't hear.
Yeah, yeah. I think that with all of that, it's relationships, and when you start getting into the big licensing houses, it's like if you get one piece of IP and you fucking crush it. Thank you, sir. Might I have another? Yeah. It's a fucking pledge line.
Yeah. And then you can use that as leverage for like, hey, we worked with this brand and this brand. And then they're like, all right,
bro,
open.
It's all the fucking leverage game.
Yeah.
That's the whole entire, it's gotten to a point now. It's fucking so wild. Cause I remember when I got the first one, I just was so proud of myself because it was like the craziest fucking shit. I was at a licensing expo. It was nuts how I got it. And I just thought that, if I got any, it would be amazing. And now we're at a point now where we're looking at the current ones we have, and we're like, who do we want to shave and not re-up? And who do we want to double down with and get more IP under that umbrella? So it's crazy, man. I think licensing, it's a great way to leverage pre-existing brands and then piggyback and then build your own brands.
And you're also what you guys offer for Ikonick is the perfect product to do these types of licensing deals where you can incorporate the visual aspect to it. The last time I saw you was actually at the Spotify in downtown LA when you and Brandon did the podcast with Cole, which was fucking fire. I
always do that. Shopify, guys, not Spotify.
Did I say Spotify?
I fucking always type that into my phone.
Yeah, 100%.
Spotify, 100%. Shopify, they're both green.
Both green. I know. They should be under the same umbrella at this point.
They should.
But actually that night after we finished it, you and Cole had a rate to LAX because you guys had a red eye to New York to do the Daymond John shoot. That was back in February.
Miserable fucking morning that was.
I bet you it was. But the content itself with Daymond John came out fire. Yeah. How was that? How did that come together? Was that very similar in the sense of just partnership wise?
Dude, that's a fucking...
Because he's a beast.
That's a crazy one. So I was CMO of the hat company, Melon. We were... Brian and Corey, who were the two guys above me, started getting consulting from a guy named Jay Abraham, who's a marketing... I think he's one of the most brilliant marketing guys in the whole entire world. Secret weapon for Daymond and Tony Robbins. So I had no contact with Jay Abraham. So Brian and Corey did. I was the number 3 at the company. But they would get these little zip drives, which to this day, I still read these fucking old school PDFs. Jay Abraham, for those of the people listening, he's a master at mixing marketing and strategic tactics from different industries, thousands of industries. He'll take something from a carpentry business and then bring it into an e-commerce business. So he's just got all of these case studies and then mixing and matching. So no relationship with Jay Abraham. I was just like the number 3 guy that just sat in the back, didn't get to talk to him, but I kept studying and studying and studying and studying. And then through that, Brian and Corey got introduced to Daymond. And then we did a party at All-Star Weekend, New York City in Lavo, which for people that don't know, it's like the best brunch in New York and Vegas. And there I briefly met Cuban, Daymond John. I was just running around and giving hats to the most random fucking people ever. Theo Ratliff, really nice guy, former NBA player, really, really nice guy. I met him that night. So then I had a brief touch point with Daymond and his right-hand guy, this guy named Ted. Then I am on stage speaking at an event with Casey Adams called Build Your Empire in Scottsdale about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
The last question anybody asks me, what's your favorite book? And I say, Good to Great. And he goes, everyone says that. What else you got? And I go, I'm going to give you guys the fucking secret weapon. His name's Jay Abraham. Right after, 10 minutes after, this guy named Connor Blakely, this 19, 20-year-old kid from Cleveland, goes, yo, you want to meet Jay? I'm like, of course I want to fucking meet Jay. What the fuck do you mean? He's like, got you. I'm like, I don't even know who the fuck you are, bro, but I'm fucking with it. So then 3 weeks later, he's like, yo, we got dinner at 8 o'clock, you, me, and Jay on like a Tuesday night. And he's a young buck, Connor. He's a fucking crazy guy. I get a text from him at like 5:30. He's like, yo, I just was in a car accident. You just go with just Jay. It wasn't that crazy. His Bobby's face right now. Oh, fuck. So he's like, you just go with Jay. That night, bro, it was me and Jay in the back of some bougie-ass restaurant. I forgot the name of it. We had a whole bottle of scotch and just spoke for probably 3.5 hours.
Wow.
And he knew, because first off, I was putting him on game. The best thing about it was I was taking his shit and then I was putting my flavor on it. And he's like, wow, this motherfucker like really knows, like he really fucking read my shit. So he's like, do you know Daymond? I was like, actually, I know Daymond from like 5-6 years ago. And he goes, I'm going to connect you with Ted. I was like, Ted? Oh shit. Wow. Ted's still in the fucking game. Connected me with Ted. And I was like, yo, you remember me? He's like, of course I fucking remember you. Closed deal.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying is the fucking shit is all about relationships. Like, I know that he knew that day during Lavo, like, I remember literally, like, everyone else was getting fucking drunk. I remember it. And I was literally finding every single way to optimize and find every single influencer, every person, bring them outstairs, educate them on all the hats, take the picture with the hats. I met Yasel Puig, the former Dodgers player, the Reds player, Theo Ratliff. I met Daymond's partners in Fubu, just a bunch of fucking random people. But it kind of goes back to like, let's just say I didn't leave a good impression that day and I didn't perform as I should have. Then maybe he could have been like, oh, fuck this guy. But
so you're consciously making an effort that even though you're in this environment where people are popping bottles, having a good time, probably drinking too much, you're consciously making sure that you're networking your ass off while having a good time, but also making sure people remember you and providing some type of value.
Oh, I have an enormous problem where it's like, dude, sometimes I'll even go on dates and I feel like I'm on like a business consultation. I'm twisted and fucked up. Bro, I just went to Cabo last weekend. You want to hear the craziest shit?
Tell me about this. I saw you guys take a little private jet down there or something like that.
First off, that was the first time I ever flew on a PJ.
Yeah, it felt good, I bet, right?
Never do that ever again.
Why?
Just like never go first class because then when you're in fucking economy, it feels like you're in a different district of the Hunger Games. Yeah. You ever been in Spirit Airlines?
I refuse to fly. Never flew it.
I don't wish that upon anybody. But a lot of fun. So I go there the first night and there was these two girls. They were cousins and they were one of them was leaving. One of them was going to Tulum. And it was just like three of us and a couple girls. We were sitting at dinner with the chef and shit. And then we started talking. I was like, oh, like, what do you do? And they started telling me, they're like, oh, we work for this company that does like influencer and YouTube deals. Bro, it's both of these. And I was like, yo, bring out your roster right now. And they're fucking bringing out their roster. I got the fucking PDFs. And then like, it was my birthday too. So it was Labor Day.
I didn't realize that. You kept that on the low, didn't you?
You
didn't post nothing out there.
I don't like doing that, bro.
Come on. New year, everything's good, baby.
Bobby.
Celebrate.
I'm gonna post something fucking big. When it's big and relevant, then I'm gonna post it.
Okay.
Fuck, I don't even care about birthdays.
Okay, got you.
Yeah, and it was crazy because we flew home Monday, and obviously it was a long weekend. We drank a lot of alcohol, and literally Tuesday, fucking woke up, worked out at 6 a.m. I fucking hit them both at 7:30. I was like, yo, let's get in a follow-up call to get these deals done. And now I actually it's this week actually with both of their bosses. So like for me, it's like, it's just always about that business. And like, they're going to look really good because the synergy between their roster and something new that we're about to launch, it's fucking explosive.
Yeah.
And then they look good too. It's always, it's when you find different transactions that are mutually beneficial, it's just like seeding product. Like Luis, one of my good friends, runs influencer for Kappa. If I have a beautiful girl that's a great fit with a great following, and I go to her, I'm like, yo, you want some free Kappa? She fucking loves me because I'm giving her free Kappa. Mm-hmm. Luis loves me because I'm putting his brand on. Mm-hmm. So I'm basically doing both of them a favor. So for me, it's all about, from a business standpoint, just making sure the transaction is mutually beneficial, and or giving value first. It's never about the take first. It's mutually beneficial or give first. Always. That's always the fucking game.
You're not worried when you're connecting dots like that like, hey, I'm actually not benefiting from this, but no. I'm taking time.
Look what happened with fucking, look at the Jay Abraham, Daymond John story.
Yeah.
I was the fucking bitch boy. But I was fucking delivering.
Yeah.
This is the whole entire thing, is people are so impatient. I say it all the time in all these fucking podcasts. People are so fucking impatient. An amazing quote that I read recently, which I actually just gave to a guy that I'm trying to get to join our team. Jack Ma from Alibaba talked about something in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s. And the most important thing in your 20s is the boss that you work for. It's all about learning. So it's all about learning. That's the whole entire thing. You just got to go out there and just grab as much knowledge as possible. And then I like grabbing all the knowledge and then just giving it to people. And then it comes back.
What were you doing at 26?
26, I was CMO of the hat company Melon. I was making $3,500 a month. And I was a year away from going in deep credit card debt because I did not understand enough about taxes.
Damn.
I had just broken up with my ex-girlfriend of 3 years, who I either was going to get engaged to or break up with her. I broke up with her.
Sheesh.
And I moved July 4th into the peninsula in Newport Beach with 3 smoke shows.
Of course you did.
And I just fucking was just living super grind life, broke as fuck. What's the name of that chicken? Flame broiler. I was so fucking broke, bro. I would get the double chicken flame broiler. The woman that worked there, she loved me. She'd give me double chicken for $11.
She would just hook it up?
Hook it up, bro. Double chicken, $11. So I was going heavy flame broiler, CMO of the hat company. But like what was really good about that is like that's like where I started seeing Aaron, the guy that I mentioned before, the trade show. I went from someone living in New York, and then I just jumped right into the streetwear and the fashion scene. So I learned about trade shows. I learned about brand. I learned more about marketing. And it was kind of the first company I was a part of. So I learned, quite frankly, not only what I wanted, but more what I didn't want. And now with my company, I mean, there's so many things that I look back at with that company. I'm like, oh, fuck that. I'm not doing that. I'm doing it this way. So at 26, I was fucking broke as shit.
Well, I think a lot of people that tune into my podcast are very creative background. And I think a lot of times creatives think that fucking 9 to 5, I don't need that. I'll just freelance my ass off until I can get to the place, which works for some people. But I've seen the value in exactly what you're saying. Like your 20s could be about learning from other great people. So like I'm 26 and I'm seeing it at scale, and it's like I'm sitting there in the background just taking notes on like, how do you scale a business to...
Dude, people are so fucking asleep. Like hypothetically, you probably have more intel in the structure of a company at scale than I do. Like I've never been part of a company bigger than my company, which has 12 people. You know what I'm saying? So people, and you know how awesome that is to know that, hey, you hustled by yourself. Hey, you go work for a Liquid IV that has, I don't know, probably 50, 60, 70 employees, whatever it is. And then what does it look like in a startup? What does it look in a company like Ikonick, a medium-sized company? And you start doing that, then you wake up. Fuck, I started Ikonick when I was 30 or 31. You wake up, you're 30, 31, you're like, wow, I've seen this from every single point of view. And you start picking, hey, this was stupid. Let's do this. Hey, this was good.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. And along the way, you're not a piece of shit. You work hard. Then what do? You got the relationships.
Yeah.
And then either you can poach or you can ask for favors. You can ask for intros, shit like that.
Yeah. You got to lean into it. The Daymond John, the one last thing I want to touch on was the recent thing you did an IG live with him. And you talked about how COVID and people should be spending this time to invest in themselves, which I have seen the biggest plus side in the last 6 months. I've been very fortunate to be in a position where financially I'm stable enough. I live in a house with 2 guys that, we haven't necessarily been affected by COVID to the scale it's, really fucked with a lot of people.
Yeah.
How have you spent the last couple months? I know you popped around, but like before we even touch on like you like going around and doing these like 30-day spans, how have you benefited during this time of COVID downtime wise?
Oh my God. This is the best year of my life. It sounds so fucked up to say because I shouldn't be saying that, but I'm just going to keep it 100 just because there's just been so much disaster and COVID, and Kobe was a huge hero of mine. But it started with extreme paranoia. I went 76 days and I get a haircut every 6-7 days for everybody listening.
I'm 14, every 14.
14.
Yeah, I got to get that low fade.
Those are fucking rookie numbers, bro. Rookie numbers, dude. Talk to me when you're at every 6 days.
That was college days. I did every 6, but I kind of tamed it down a little bit. Go ahead, though.
So I went 76 days of no shaving. I disgusting. And I'm 35 years old, brother. So this shit gets gray and fucking gross. So I got no haircut, no shaving. Ready for this one? No females. Nothing.
Kept it clean.
No. I didn't touch a female. Ready for this? I only walked down to my lobby 4 times, and the only human that I saw outside of Jeff was Luis Cano. I saw him once. He came down and he pulled up, and I said, "What up?"
So would you have food get delivered here and stuff?
Food, everything got delivered. We didn't fucking touch
well,
shit.
yeah, that 76 days was when COVID. It was probably from March to like April, right?
Yeah, it was right in the beginning of this. But in that time, waking up super early. That was when I was in the 100 pull-ups mode. I was doing 100 pull-ups a day, like every single day. And I think that kind of kick-started just an extreme focus and kind of getting rid of the clutter in my life, finding out more what was important to me. That's when the company saw a little uptick as well. It's been great since then. And then I started going on these, I lived in Miami for 30 days, here for 30 days, Arizona for 21, 30 days, and just kind of been bouncing around. And in the middle of COVID is I pulled up in Miami maybe like 3-4 months ago, and I was like a big soccer player growing up. I'm in good shape. I mean, I'm always generally in good shape. More so because I do intermittent fasting. But about 4 months ago, I pulled up in Miami with my buddy Anik, who's one of the owners of Venice at the Florida Flower Company. We posted for 30 days, worked every single day. We woke up early. The first day, I get there and there's a trainer there. And I've always been the same thing with a life coach. Like before I met Kevion.
He's your life coach, right?
Not anymore. He's just a homie now, but
Gotcha.
he was for a bit.
Great. That's one of my favorite podcasts that you guys put out.
Young
I
legend.
think he's like, nobody understands the gems. I mean, I think he has a lot to
Young
provide.
Yoda at Kevion on Instagram. You guys should check him out. So before that, I was always like, before a life coach, I'm like, who the fuck needs a life coach? He put me on some serious game, Kevion. So I'm like, who the fuck needs a trainer? So I pull up. His name's Willie Stees on Instagram. I pull up and Anik was training. He's like, yo, you want to train? And I was like, yeah, fuck it. Why not? I then trained 24 days in a row, 24 days in a row of sauna, 24 days in a row of taking these pills every single day. And just, vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, all that bullshit. And that was kind of the start of me taking health and fitness way, way more serious. And since then, I've been fucking super consistent with working out, understanding, how important the food is I put in my body, analyzing my blood, all different types of shit. So for me, COVID, getting rid of the fucking bullshit in my life, health and fitness, talking to less people. I also read a book, Minimalism, and I donated 2 garbage bags worth of bullshit. And then half of my closet, I went into my closet, every single thing that wasn't a definite yes, I gave it to someone, and they're just selling everything. Wow. So I donated a bunch of shit, and then I'm selling a bunch of shit.
Have you seen the doc on Netflix, Minimalism?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Incredible.
That's such a good book for people listening. Minimalism. It's just immediately clear the inbox, fucking unfollow people, mute people. You know what I do now, bro? I don't even respond to some people now. I always had this thing where if someone hits me, I owe them a response. But then what I started doing, this was the
Would
crazy.
it be for ask? Like when they would hit you, it's always an ask.
Yes.
Well,
it's always a fucking
It's always
ask.
an ask.
And then I started, it was crazy, man. I actually was sitting right here where I'm at right now. I started just going through my text messages and just analyzing like a psycho. I was here. I remember this was probably like 6 hours. Literally, I sat right here and I just started analyzing all my texts. I'm like, this motherfucker.
Always there's ask. I
was like, what is this? Is this fucking Mark consultation life? And then like the audacity to like, oh my God. So I started really just seeing like, you know, who brings happiness to my life, and they, you know, are they making me smarter? Are they making happier? Are they, you know, better habits and such. So COVID's been absolutely fucking amazing. I think it's brought out like, again, there's extenuating circumstances. So like, if you're running an enormous company with an enormous burn rate and you're all in brick and mortar and not in e-commerce, like I wouldn't saying I know how to solve that problem, but I think for most people that have a reasonable situation and even, you know, a little bit of chinks in the armor, I think it really shows like who the real dogs are and who the people are that are like going to be like, oh, I feel bad for myself type shit.
Yeah. You have to quickly take this time to like it's literally, I think there was like a 3 or 4 day span where I was like, yo, this sucks. Can't go to the gym. Can't do this. Can't go out. But then ultimately you have to flip the perspective. Like literally, how are you going to react to the situation? Are you going to just sit in the corner and complain about it? Or are you going to try to step up to the plate and actually make use of the time that you have? Whether it's, you know, being by yourself more or reading.
This is what it is now.
Yeah.
This is like what the situation is now.
Yeah.
Like, bro, these big companies like are a maybe to go back like summer of next year. Like it's like for us, our lease is up November 10th and we're looking to move and or go remote. Me and Jeff were just talking. He's like, bro, this is like a once in a lifetime opportunity. We're both single. We both have no kids. The company's in a good place. Everybody can work remote. We're in this fucking apocalypse right now. We're like, shit isn't open. Like if we're going to go, you know, travel and go into random places, now's the time. So, it's a blessing and a curse. I think the real bosses are taking it for what it's worth.
So do you, excuse me, would you have done the 30-day like stints if COVID didn't happen, or was that inspired because of COVID? You wanted to get out of LA for a bit?
That's inspired by one of my best friends, Anik, that owns the flower company. He's
yeah, shout out to Anik one time. He sent my mom some flowers. That one time you guys put us in a group chat.
Oh man, what's up, Anik? I just took a one way.
Yo, my mom was eating it up. She still
that boy is private and got 800 followers. He's just under the fucking radar. Sorry, Anik, I shouldn't even be talking about you now. I'm about to blow your shit up. One of your crazy story about Anik is,
please.
Anik was one of our first customers. Anik, this is how fucking, I don't even know what religion I believe in, but I believe in like shit comes full circle and karma. So Anik was one of the first customers, buys one of the pieces. And in the beginning, it was me and Jeff. So Jeff was the designer and the 50-50 with me product upload to then buy. But the rest of the company, I did everything else. So I was customer service. It was shopiconic@gmail.com. The OG email. So I get a fucking email from him and it's his phone number. And it was a Jersey phone number. He's like, yo, my shit's damaged. And our fucking damage rate, bro, was like 0.8, I think, at this point. So that's like a 1 in 100, I don't know, 1 in 130 chance. And then I respond and he sees it's from a Gmail. And then we just kind of going back and forth, and he was like kind of funny. And he's like, yo, I own this flower company. If you want to hook up on the flowers, like, I got you. And I was like, oh, dude, fuck. And I fucking called him. Then we met up in New York like a week later. This was 4 years ago. Now he's one of my best friends.
Wow. And we got the flowers right there just chilling.
Big fucking plug on the flowers. But yeah, getting back to where I was going with that is he's such a you know, for me, I'm like, I only know one speed. Like I'm like a fucking psycho. And he just lives his life different, and he's like opened my eyes up to a lot of things. And he's just like, bro, I got this crib in Miami on the water. Like, just, you want to fucking throw down? Like, come do it. Just come get away, and just, we'll be productive. We'll post during the week. And obviously we had the trainer every single day, and bro, it was great.
But when you say he lives his life different, what do you mean by that?
I always live my life on my own terms, but he really lives his life on his own terms. And then he just finds, like, structurally, he's just different. Like, I never imagined or thought it was necessary to have, let's just say, use an example as a driver. Okay. Why the fuck would you pay a driver? Think about it though. Okay. You don't have to have your own car, so they have their own car. You're never going to get a car accident because, or you can't get in a car accident, but you're not driving. So you could be working in the backseat. So you have more time to work. That driver can also serve as something else. Bodyguard. Let's go into that second bucket, the bodyguard bucket. Why the fuck do I need a bodyguard? Just so happens I was in Brazil during New Year's and some people wanted to start a fight. What happened? The bodyguard solved the fucking issue. It's just protecting your assets and your time. So he's a guy that has a driver that's also a bodyguard. That's also his assistant. Do I need to go do all these little things, or does it make more sense for me to be locked into work and have somebody else do it? So you start peeling off. Can that person also be your chef? Can that person also be your trainer? And he has all of these kind of resources. And from the outside looking in, they're like, who the fuck is this psycho? You know what I'm saying? That's what I thought. Yeah. And he's one of my best friends. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? And then we started amortizing and breaking it up and looking at how much he's paying people. And he's like, bro, is this worth your time? This much money? And I was like, wow.
Yeah. Then it starts light bulb moments.
Then just so many light bulb moments. So like, I'm with him all the time. He was with us in Cabo, and like, again, like we had a chef, and it's like, do you really need a chef? No, but it's like that chef is now putting the food into your body that's going to optimize your health and energy, and that's going to help you do better work.
Yeah.
Thus creating a better situation for your whole entire team and more revenue and such. So he just, his way of looking at life is just, it's like a weird strategic systematic way that he's just opened up my eyes completely fucking different.
Did you even find while you were working remote at these new places more Miami than Scottsdale? Because I think Scottsdale was a lot more calmer. Miami, it seems like you guys had like people coming in and out. Do you find that you're still able to stay productive? Because for me, I'm very like structured, organized. I get up at the same time every day. I like being in my own environment. I don't have people that are, pulling away my attention. Do you still find like productivity wise, you're able to just get your shit done?
You have to find just the right situation.
Yeah.
Like for me, every time I'm away, there's only one thing I miss. One thing. This right behind me, this little spot where I work.
So fire, dude. This view is...
I just love that fucking spot. Oh. I could just sit in that fucking chair or stand, usually stand for like 10, 20%, fucking 15 hours in a row and just get so much shit done. So like, it's funny that you say that because like in the beginning it was me, him, and this other guy, Ori, that lived in Miami that would come in and out, but he was running his own business. We were so productive when it was us. And then when more people came, it was a little less productive. But I think it's, being a little bit flexible and how you can change stuff up in other cities. But like, I think the key is once you get to that city to immediately within 24 to 48 hours to figure out what your routine is and then stick with it. Like we had this, the Sonos, which was the music in the whole entire house. We had a 5 a.m. playlist. And every single day at 5 a.m., these 2 Jay-Z songs, the Meek Mill 42 Flows song,
damn,
some fucking opera song that he loves, that would wake us up. And we would just do the whole racket. We'd have to take the golf cart, we'd go get a coffee, we'd come back, we'd look at our emails, the trainer would be there, we'd train, take that liquid IV right after. Let's go! Let's go!
Well, yeah, that makes more sense to me then. You guys were all on the same schedule. So everybody was on the same wave of like, it's time to get shit done. It's time to work out. It's time to do this, do that, grab coffee.
Like I was in Cabo and this dude Cartel that I was with there, I should probably call him by his name, Mike. It's at Cartel on Instagram.
I wouldn't say you were in Cabo at Cartel.
At Cartel on Instagram. He's a big gym guy. Do you know how awesome that was? It's like when I get there, it's just assumed that we're going to the gym every day. That's awesome.
Because you're around people that are on the same wave as you.
Yeah, you got that's the other thing too. Is just like when people come into the fray that aren't on the same wave, not into it. That's why you got to just find people that are on the same wave as you.
Yeah.
Or the wave that you want to be on, and they'll level you up.
And then you get on that wave. Yep. It's like surfing, baby.
Level me up, bro.
Throw me up there. You said something to Cole that you and him are having a conversation about, like taking advantage of this opportunity. This is a once in a lifetime. You both are single, travel. Single aspect. You just said before how you were in a 3-year relationship and then you got out, almost got engaged at one point, but
that was like 7-8 years ago. People don't even think that I'm like feasible of doing that. Fuck everyone.
Oh, that's fucked up. Yeah. Fuck everybody for that shit.
That was before LA.
Yeah. Well, give me like where you are at on what you like. You're 35 years young.
Yep.
You're still like just getting started mindset, successful, but like still just want to get to other levels. Like, how do you look at like the relationship side of your life?
Bro, it's so crazy because I've been having these conversations so much lately with the homies, especially a lot in Cabo. I just don't even know anymore, bro. Like, I come from a very conservative family where, my mother and father have been together since they were like 16 or 17. Growing up, I'm always like, hey, I'm going to get married. I'm going to have kids. Quite frankly, I don't want to say anything stupid on this podcast. I don't even fucking know anymore, bro. Yeah. I'm exploring any and all possibilities. I think for me, just really focusing on me and focusing on my company, my family, my team is my family, kind of letting things come as they come. I just think the world we live in right now is just like, it's a very sad world where I think that this era from a dating and relationship perspective should just be branded as the Instagram era. It's just such a fucking wild world out here where, I mean, I don't even want to get that deep into it, but just like, look at OnlyFans. Like, OnlyFans is making like nice, wholesome, regular girls, and I mean, and you could do other things on OnlyFans. Please don't get me wrong on that. Yeah. I've seen a lot of, Yes Jules is crushing it. She's posting how much money she's made, and she does not.
How much is she? How much like
six figures
a month from OnlyFans?
Yeah. It's just a really crazy world we live in right now. So I think for me, a skill set that I have is just self-awareness and being realistic and pragmatic. And I'm not getting in any situation that doesn't, I want to enrich their life. They want to enrich my life. And I'm just in a situation where like, I know a lot of people that are married, and is there the outliers? Of course.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking in my head of like a couple people. It's literally only a couple people in my head where I'm like, wow, they're in a great relationship. Like Nick from Sauce. Great relationship. My buddy Alex from For Those Who Sin, he's dating this girl, Emma. Great relationship. There's plenty of others out there. I don't want to cherry pick, but it's just, a lot of people are, they're packing it in early. They're having kids early. They're getting married too early. For me, I've very, very big ambition. I want to change the world. We're on a very great path right now with Ikonick. So I'm just focusing on Ikonick. And if something comes, it comes. If it doesn't, I got a 3-year-old nephew that I love a lot, and I would explore other opportunities. Like the shit that like Ronaldo did with like having the kid, and now like the kid is his. Like there's crazy shit going on now.
How old was he when he had his first kid, Ronaldo? I have no idea. I mean, I have literally no idea of his like background.
I probably like 30 or something.
Oh, okay. So reasonable age.
Yeah. And like for me, I'm just finding myself now. You know what I'm saying?
Which is so interesting to hear, because I'm almost a decade younger than you. So it's like,
dude, it's so funny.
It's so, I get so pumped to like talk to you, whether we hop on a FaceTime or, coming in today, because I'm not saying like I'm going to be the next Mark Brazil, but I see so much of you in myself. And I think we're New Englanders. You're from New York. I'm from Massachusetts. I think there's a lot about the Northeast that we kind of are very mentally on the same level. I wouldn't say everybody in the Northeast, but very go-getter mindset. But I like get extremely interested because I'm at such a different point in my life where now I'm like throwing myself out there where I punted certain areas of my life. And so to hear you saying things like that, it's so fucking interesting to me, because once again, age is just a number. You're 35 years young, but when you're telling me you're just like still just figuring out, it's like mind-boggling to me.
You want to hear something crazy?
Please.
Young Buster, sure. At Buster on Instagram, you know him?
Mm-mm.
Young hustler from New York. I posted in Cabo, pseudo flex. He goes, I want to be like Mark when I grow up. And my response, given you're half my age, the likelihood is high, LOL. And that's what these people don't understand. Is like, dude, I was in this shitter, and general societal standards would say that I was not in a good position in life when I was 30. So you got plenty of time. Like for me, I think like just now I'm on this health and fitness journey. Like I'm just looking at all aspects of my life. Like I'm about to be right now I'm almost in the best shape I've ever been. I think I am in the best shape of my whole entire fucking life right now. I'm only going to get in better shape. I'm only going to get healthier. I know I'm only going to be getting smarter because I'm investing in myself and I'm learning new skills and such. So I'm only going to go with a girl that's going to enrich my side, and I got to enrich her side. So it's got to be super complimentary. And for me, I'm probably in the wrong city to find that. We can just say that. And then
you think so? What's been your taste of LA dating? Like, what do you think of the city for dating aspect? Is it just a shit show or what?
Yeah, I mean, this whole entire place is a shit show. The worst thing about it is like you just see like really good, a nice, sweet, wholesome girl from North Carolina comes to California with 7,000 Instagram followers.
Yeah,
and then she just
pops.
No, I don't even know what the right adjective is, but she's not the same person a year later.
Yeah,
people change and get jaded by the city, so that's why I could say it on air. There's a good likelihood we're moving out of here. And for me, it's just about being here when I need to be here and just condensing the pockets, as opposed to, sprinkling in, seeing an influencer on, 1 on Monday, 2 on Wednesday, 1 on Friday. I'd rather be here 1 week every 60 days and see 30 in one fucking day and then be out. So, I don't know, man. It's interesting because I've been here, I don't know now, 5-6 years. And it's like, all these people on like Instagram and such. And it's like, who is Bobby going to marry? Who's Mark going to marry? Like I haven't been here long enough. So it's like, you have your friends, your LA friends, your Instagram friends. Like you see these people on Instagram, like I haven't been here long enough. And like Instagram hasn't been around long enough to see many people start and then get married on Instagram. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm just really interested to see how this all kind of shakes out. And it's like, over time you really see, everyone sees what's up.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been here 3 years this month. And even the thing that I've been focusing on a lot, even just the last couple of months, which is obviously hard given COVID, is turning all these business relationships that I met through podcasting to like actual relationships where it's not, dude, now I'm at that point in my life where like business, there's obviously, I'm always going to be wanting to grow and network through podcasting and with anything that happens career wise within Liquid IV. But then there's this other side of me that was so neglected for so long, which was dating, but then also like genuine friendships where it's like, it wasn't until I took the job with Liquid IV and actually had time to myself where I was like, I don't even fucking know who to hit up to like kick it tonight because everything that I've built has just been so fucking business related, which is the scariest thing in the world because they're really incredible people that I know that live out here that I've met, but it's not even on a friendship. It's always been business, which I've tried to tweak and make it not just business related, but it's been such a like weird moment for me to like step back and pull myself out and be like, you've been here for 3 years. You've met some incredible people, but this has always just been business.
Yeah, man. It's I couldn't agree with you more. I think a unique perspective that I actually just got is when I told my lawyer, who I'm very, very close with. Shout out Goody.
Shout out to Goody.
I fucking love you, Goody. A nice, beautiful, young 40s Persian family man. A little pricey, but does great work. I've seen him absolutely murder so many other good lawyers. Love you, Goody. Godar Zagahi, KL Gates. If anybody wants that plug, let me know. I told him I was leaving. He's like, oh, man, I'm going to miss you. I'm like, miss me? Bro, I see you fucking twice a year. I talk to him all the time, but I see you twice a year. So I think actually looking at how often you actually see people that's why it gets really interesting when you start looking at friendships and such. Like example, like the Sauce guys. Very good friends with them. Nick and Austin is another guy they're super tight with. And they just moved down the block.
In here, downtown LA.
Downtown LA. And like we just got dinner like a week or two ago. I don't see them any more or any less from when they were living wherever else they were living. We talk all the time, but it's just, I think the other thing too is just like the bigger the boss you are, just the busier you are, period. And it's just, the frequency of seeing people outside of business is just less. That's what I think. I also have no fucking work-life balance at all. Like zero. Clearly I'm trying to cut deals with females in Cabo, trying to cut influencer deals at the dinner table in Cabo. Everyone's ripping shots. I'm trying to take fucking influencer deals. But yeah, it's fucked. What I've learned too is just like over time, you just obviously, it's the less is better thing. It's just finding those few couple of friends. So
gravitate towards them.
Yeah.
So if the lease ended tomorrow, where do you want to go next?
We're looking at Arizona.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You wouldn't keep this? Would you just get an Airbnb when you come out?
We're looking at everything. Yeah, we're looking into everything. We got like 2 more months to the side, and I think ultimately it's how I've been as a leader my whole entire life is, my team doesn't work for me. I work for them. And, we've had a talk with everybody in the team. We're bringing on more people and just making sure everybody is okay with what the potential situation is. There's a couple of key hires that right now we're looking at. And I just a couple things are kind of up in the air. And like for me, this is how fucking sick I am, Bobby, is I will not move, which potentially would create more happiness for me if these key hires want to come to LA. That's how fucking bad I want to win. I want to fucking dominate so bad that I'll fucking get stabbed in the face to fucking win. So it's just like, and it's been like that for me forever. I remember when I had my first company, my 2 designers, I moved to New York. They wanted to live in Brooklyn. I wanted to live uptown, and I settled and lived in Financial District, which for people that don't know is like way closer to Brooklyn. So I basically sacrificed my social life for 2 years to appease these 2 fucking ungrateful, those fucking guys 2 fucking years. I think my team is grateful now, though. I really love my team. Love my team.
So there's people that you're talking to that are potential hires that part of it is like you be coming to LA.
Well, part of it is like some of them are moving from other cities.
Wow.
And they're like, oh, like, where am I staying? I'm mid-negotiation right now. I'm throwing some crazy. That call's tomorrow.
Well, you said you'd go to Arizona, right?
Yeah.
Scottsdale?
Yeah.
I heard great things about Scottsdale. I might be one of your first people to come visit because I've heard some rowdy stories about Scottsdale.
It's a good situation. I love inexpensive real estate. I like lower taxes, great restaurants, great heat. I like it's a 45-minute flight from LA.
Easy.
Yeah, the tax thing is fucking crazy, bro.
Yeah. I didn't really see it before because of my income was so low just driving through Uber, but then now I'm starting to see like, wow, they literally take you for everything you got in California, especially being a business owner.
So it's kind of going back on how important going on those trips were. One of the key things that I learned when I was in Miami was one day I had a 2.5-hour Zoom call with my lawyer, Goody, and my accountant. And then after, I just sat outside and just talked to Anik about just taxes. That one day, I learned 50x more about taxes. I never even knew. I'm always under the thing that, whoever wins the election. If it's a good or a bad, it's going to be good or bad for everybody. And then just the strong survive. That's just what it is. Like, bro, I never even took a tactical approach to looking. Like, bro, have you ever looked at the state income tax for every single state? Have you ever looked at that?
No.
Bro.
It's mind-boggling, right?
Mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Like, I know all of them now. I know fucking Texas,
Nothing.
Vegas,
Yeah.
Florida, 0. And then, like, the high ones are, like, 11, 12, 13. And then you start looking, a lot of them in, like, the 7, 8. And you start looking, and you're like, wow, like Arizona's in, like, that 3, 4.5. That doesn't make sense. I kind of fuck with this one. And you're looking at this shit, and, like, you're now taking a way more tactical approach. And then you're looking at the 3.5%, 4.5%, whatever it is. Like, would I rather live in Texas in the middle and be halfway between?
Then you're kind of pro and conning of like, okay, well, I get it's
you're
0.
making smarter decisions.
Yeah.
That was my greatest thing about all these trips is just like when I was in Cabo, for one of the mornings I was up before everyone else, and I was literally just outside, just sitting there, just fucking thinking. That's a huge thing that people don't do enough is just sitting and thinking.
Yeah, put your phone down, don't vibrate, just literally think.
I've been off my phone for like an hour right now, crushing it.
Well, that's the best thing about these podcasts. It's the only time that I can actually disconnect, and it feels fucking fantastic.
Great fucking coffee right now.
We're about to be wrapped up real shortly. Is there any areas of your life that you want to put more effort into right now?
I need to see my family. I've been very, I talk to them all the time, but I've been, my sister just had another kid, and then baby Jay, he's just turned 3. And I'm not really, I've actually never met my other nephew, Julian, because he happened at the beginning of COVID. But then also my parents are older, so I've been cognizant of COVID and such. But yeah, I would say more family. And then like figuring out the female situation would probably be a good situation for me. I just think that obviously if I was in a relationship, I'd be more focused. Like that's just what it is. I mean, those days in the beginning of COVID where I talked to no female, crazy, bro.
Bro, I did that shit, bro. I'm gonna keep it a buck because when you said like the 74 days of like I don't know if it was talking or touching a female, I for sure have surpassed that. Like in the last couple of years with like the Uber grind bullshit I was going through, like females weren't even on my fucking radar. Anytime I would meet a girl that I was like even 1% interested, I would just like shut myself down because I just knew I was not at a point in my life where I was comfortable enough to like take a risk. Time, money, energy. So like, bro, I fucking surpassed that 75 easy in the last couple of years, bro. Probably too long. Dude,
one of my I don't want to say his name actually. Just one of my friends did a year of just celibacy. Jesus, bro, that's a little much.
Was it intentional on him or just that's
intentional?
Just
yeah.
Okay.
I don't even fucking know.
Yeah, I don't think I would ever intentionally put that out there, but yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, I'd say family. I'd say figuring out the women's situation, and that's it. For me, I think all the other pockets I'm working on, and just educating myself and getting better. So those are the big ones.
How often do you go back to New York?
I mean, I used to.
Well, before COVID, obviously, this is just throws everything out. Is it like once, twice, 3 times a year?
No,
more.
6,
really,
7, 8 tons. All the meetings, all the shoots. But what I'll do is the next time I go home, I'm just gonna go home for like a month. My favorite time is Thanksgiving time, and that's Black Friday time.
So Iconic's cooking up, baby.
Bro, I sit in my fucking. It's so great, bro. It's literally me. Oh wow, no Sydney. Our dog passed away.
Aww,
me.
sorry to hear that.
Me. It's okay. Me. How do I respond to that?
Well, you gotta respect the dog.
Thank you. That sounds so fucked up. Let's move on. Let's move on from Sydney. It's just me, my mom, my dad, and literally I just sit at the and it's nice. It's like in the Hamptons, and my dad just goes to the beach and we just chill. I talk to my mom. She fucking makes me all my meals. We just catch up. Fire. It's like one time a year, like you really catch up. And then, obviously Black Friday and Cyber Monday are like big for sales. So she's just like, what's the revenue? So she's like playing the game with me. So she's like my business partner. And I'm so excited for that. I'm super close to my mom. I talk to my mom every day. I love my mom more than anything. So yeah. And then this is going to be a good test actually, because she cooks all healthy food, but she's like heavy on like the fucking
carbs,
gluten-free blueberry fucking muffins and all this shit. And I cave every fucking time.
Of course. Well, I think the good thing is when you can get into that healthy regimen of like strict dieting, that when it's time to like go off the deep end and like eat whatever the fuck you want on Thanksgiving, or even it's the whole week, you don't feel so bad about yourself because you're so consistent for 95% of the year. That's like that week is not going to throw off your body, or like you'll feel it for a week or two after because your body.
I'm just going to work out every day this time.
Yeah.
Like there's a fucking nice gym over there and shit, and I usually just go fat boy for like a week, but I'm going to keep it tight.
Yeah. Before I wrap these podcasts, I'd like to have the guest put a challenge out to the listeners if they've made it this far, something that is actionable, because I think a lot of times people get inspired by podcasts, or they're frozen because they have all these thoughts of like what they're supposed to do next. What is one actionable thing somebody could do after listening to this podcast, regardless if they're an entrepreneur, if they're trying to be a dancer, the next podcaster? What's something they can do today that will help them in one aspect of their life?
Get to 6 a.m. Got to get up earlier. I did 5 a.m. for a long time. Wasn't right for me. I was a big like Robin Sharma 5 a.m. club. I did it for a long time. Get up earlier. It's scientifically proven that I don't know the right words. I don't want to botch it. You're just more productive in the morning. There's less noise, more confidence because you're just ahead of everybody. I don't think anything good happens past 11 or 12 o'clock anyway. I would just wake up earlier. That for me was a conscious decision I made probably 3 years ago. Yeah. I mean, I used to be a guy. I remember wake up at 7:30 and be like, wow, I'm waking up early. Yeah. No, that's
weak shit.
That's some rookie shit.
5:30 a.m.
Yeah, there you go. You got to go early. So for anybody listening, I would just say figure out a way to go earlier. And then I would just say just the number one, I think the North Star in life is just happiness. So just do whatever the fuck makes you happy. And I think that people are way too focused on what other people define as happiness. Like the whole like, oh, I got to be a fucking entrepreneur. Like we already talked about the importance of being in an organization and learning and stuff like that. So whatever personally makes you happy, do everything you can do to follow that.
Find a way to make a living doing that shit.
100%.
Yeah. Amen. Mark Brazil, it has been an absolute pleasure of having you on the Bearded Man podcast. I hope you enjoyed it today, my man.
Beard Lord.
Beard Lord. We'll catch you guys and gals soon enough. Make sure you screenshot this episode, post it on your IG story, tag Mark Brazil at Mark Brazil on IG, and tag me at Bob A. That's B-O, 3 B's, 4 A's, and Y. Share this shit on your Instagram story. It's going to help grow this brand to the tippity top because we're growing this thing from the ground up. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll catch you guys and gals soon enough.
See ya.